Hello, hello, hello. I'm Zoc. Welcome to Data Forge, the fun of Keyforge. And today we have something very fun, the discovery of a new set. Yes, Winds of Exchange is upon us. We're going to open a few decks, Winds of Exchange, an Unchained deck, and we're also going to talk about the Keyforge Celebration that happened last week in Roseville, Minnesota. So, should be exciting. Very excited to explore some new Winds of Exchange. Um, so let's just jump right into it because that's why everybody's here. Here's what we got. Some decks. Unchained 2022. Winds of Exchange. Here's what they look like. Unlock a world of infinite variety. This Keyforge deck is Unchained. Definitely need an Unchained emote. Maybe that's what I need to work on for my to replace the pre-made one. So yeah, let's check it out. So what should we start with? Should we start with Winds of Exchange, or should we start with Unchained? Hype. How you doing, Fudginator? Nice to see you. Anybody have a preference? Hey, Ketzer. All right, Winds of Exchange it is. Let's just get right at it. And it took some time, but I actually learned how to open the decks themselves better. Crazy windy and snowy here. Wow. We definitely don't have that here in sunny Arizona. But it's nice to visit snow from time to time. Okay. Here we go. Starting out with Apple Flea. Apple Flea, Brand Vostok Scout. And it, Brobnar, Sanctum, Saurian. And it's got the Squire token. All right. So since we got some Brobnar, what I would love to see is the band. Definitely want some band action. But we will have to see what this deck has in store for us. A nice, actually, let's, this is something I learned from Ketzer, actually. Shout out Ketzer. Let's take a look at our Archon art and try and see what aspects of it come from each house. So we kind of have a winged figure with a huge a huge kind of claw coming out on one side with a spiky helmet. Okay, so that huge claw coming on there on the right side, I'm gonna say that's Saurian. The wings are definitely from Sanctum. This is maybe an angel, a spirit angel from Sanctum. The helmet's definitely Brobnar. Got some fighting, berserker action going. Something from everything. Now the base body, not sure. I have to think about what that actually looks like. Maybe a lithe figure with a cloak, yeah, or just the angelic body. The angel of death, maybe, or the angle of death. Do we have any mathematicians in the house? Maybe we'll get the Saurian trio. So maybe we will. I don't know. All right, so let's start with our token creature. We have Squire. 2 power, taunt. Not the best token, but not the worst as well. Taunt is actually at a premium in Winds of Exchange. So if we have some creatures that need it, it might be helpful. All right, let's get it started. We're going to start with Brobnar and Pingle, who annoys. Elusive. After enemy creature enters play, deal 1 damage to it. So this is actually really good versus 1 power tokens. I actually have a deck with autocannon in it, and it just destroyed one of my other decks with the researcher token, which is only 1 power in it. Anything that does 1 damage to a token can be catastrophic. Next up, we have Unguarded Camp. Play. For each creature you control in excess of your opponent, a friendly creature captures 1 ember. Each creature cannot capture more than 1 ember this way. Alright, so we got a couple reprints to start out. Fish too strong. Yeah, I didn't get any fish, unfortunately. Alright, next up, another reprint, Berserker Slam. Play, deal 4 damage to a flank creature. If this damage destroys that creature, its controller loses 1 ember. Oh, we have a second Berserker Slam. And on to Bumpsy. It's all reprints so far. Play, your opponent loses 1 ember. Whatever he doesn't like, he breaks. He doesn't like anything. Smash. Looks like he's smashing some robotic arms from like Stormcrawler potentially. Berserker is great, yeah. Gaining Ember, creature control plus Ember control all in 1 card. You can't beat that. Next up, another reprint, Fire Spitter. This goes well against tokens as well, and if we have Pingle out, now we can easily get rid of 2 power if we also fight with Fire Spitter. Guess how we got that name. Before fight, deal 1 damage to each enemy creature. Bumpsy is pretty bumping. Yeah. Yep, good Ember control so far. Next up, we have, all right, we're on to the new set, and we have Fresh Marks, which is actually quite powerful. You may have seen it first when I was opening decks from the Keyforge Celebration. Play, destroy a friendly creature. If you do, exalt 3 enemy creatures. I'll get them this time. So being able to put 3 Ember on enemy creatures could be quite good. Ooh, next up we have a Jarl Svend, also seen on one of my decks opening from the Keyforge Celebration. And this one has a capture pip. After an enemy creature is destroyed fighting Jarl Svend, make a token creature. Season's Beatings. I feel like that, well, I don't know. It might not be the right art, but way back, the end of I think 2018, they had a playmat and art that was Christmas or holiday themed for Keyforge. It'd be cool if they had something else like that. All right, we have a Might Club action. Ready and enrage a creature. The first rule of Might Club is the one who holds a Might Club makes the rules. All right, well, Brobnar likes to fight. So, we're going to be doing some fighting. Next up, we have a Pound, another reprint. Play, deal 2 damage to a creature with 1 damage splash. And we have a Press Gang. Make a token creature. If an enemy creature was destroyed this turn, archive Press Gang. Thanks for volunteering. They did have Christmas art. I have it ready at hand, actually. Yeah. I hope they do some more fun holiday stuff like that. Okay, we have a shock herder, which is nice. Deploy, play, ready and fight with a neighboring creature. Of course, we need something with fight effects. We do have Jarl Svend, but we have a couple different ways to make things fight. And that's it. This is actually kind of disappointing, Brobnar. Even though we have decent cards, we just don't have enough creatures to fight. We have Jarl Svend, Shock Herder. We do have the Fire Spitter. That's our one thing that would love to fight. Pingo Noise, Bumpsy. But we have lots of good Amber Control, the 2 Berserker Slams, the Unguarded Camp. And let's see how many pips we have. We have 1 from Pound, 1 from Fresh Marks, 2 from Berserker Slam, and 1 from Unguarded Camp. So we have 5 pips. It's not going to be owning the board like some of the Brobnar houses out there, but I think it's still a support house, a very good support house. But now we are on to Sanctum, and we're going to start with Friendship. When this creature would be dealt damage, if it has 1 or more neighbors, that damage is divided among its neighbors as evenly as possible instead. All right, we'll have to see who we have that Friendship would be good for. We have a Halo of Enlightenment. Play, make a token creature. This creature cannot be attacked while its controller controls a token creature. Okay, that's cool. I've not played with this one before. So now we have 2 different ways to protect creatures, at least from damage or being attacked. So that's pretty nice. Hopefully we have some semi-witches that we can protect. We have another rare, Renewed Life. Play, fully heal a creature. Make a token creature for each damage healed this way. That they believeth in each other shall not die, but shall have life everlasting. So this probably goes pretty well with our Brobnar. Just trying to get in a little bit closer to that art. It's pretty nice. We're going to be doing lots of fighting with our Brobnar, so Renewed Life actually synergizes really well. We have Squire Recruitment. Make a token creature for each friendly knight creature. Congratulations, here's your sword. The enemy is that way. Okay, is Squire a knight? If so, no, Squire's just a human. That's too bad. That could have got out of hand quick. But we do have 3 Amber Pips so far. Next up, we have Battle Evangelist. After fight, make a token creature. Okay, so that might actually be good with our Shock Herder. You will never achieve transcendence while you remain focused on the material. And also really cool art on this one. Next up, we have a Celestial Gorm. Omni, destroy Celestial Gorm. Return each other artifact to its owner's hand. All objects are immaterial. Only the spirit is eternal. The Sanctified Scroll. Next up, we have Colonel Mariana. Play, each friendly knight captures 1 ember. Ember belongs in the hands of the enlightened. All right, more creature control, or ember control, sorry. It seems like we got a decent amount so far. Nothing scaling, but a decent amount. Next up, we have Cassiel the Benevolent. And it's got a capture pip on it, and it's a knight, which is good. And it enhances an ember and 2 capture pips. We've seen the 2 capture pips so far. Faith is the best shield, but just in case. All right, and what's nice is it's another knight, so our token maker can potentially make more knights with that. Let's see, what's that called again? It is called Squire Recruitment. Pretty funny that we have Squire with Squire Recruitment. I wonder if that's a pair. All right, we have membership drives. So we are going to be wanting to make a lot of tokens because this says play, make a token creature, gain 1 ember for each friendly token creature. The sooner we get to 100 signatures, the sooner the feast can begin. Okay, we'll have to see kind of how many tokens we could potentially make in Sanctum alone to try and set that up. Next up, we have Ostentatious Mount. Play, move this creature anywhere in its controller's battle line. This creature gains taunt. Okay, we have a lot of different ways to get taunt, actually. Or give it away. And we have more because we have a second ostentatious mount. Let's focus, please. Almost. There we go. Taking a look at that beautiful art. And the old classic, the Gray Rider. Deploy, play. After fight, after reap, you may ready and fight with a neighboring creature. Very nice, very nice. So that is our Sanctum. Let's take a quick look at it. Let's separate out the creatures from the actions, from the upgrades. This is actually a pretty interesting house, and we have an artifact too. Because I do think it actually has a chance to really burst. And what's also crazy is we have 4 upgrades. This is like Star Alliance level. Okay, so we do have the Celestial Gorm, which is an artifact. I forgot to read that. It says, Omni, destroy Celestial Gorm, return... Oh yeah, I did read this. Yeah, return each other artifacts to its owner's hands. What's up, Dinobot? Just checking out a Winds of Exchange deck. Brobnar, Sanctum, Saurian. We just got through the Brobnar. Whoa is whoa! Totally. Alright, so this Sanctum house, it's got the Celestial Gorm, so a little bit of artifact control, soft artifact control. It's got 4 creatures with the Grey Rider, Colonel Mariana, Battle Evangelist, and Cassiel the Benevolent. And 3 of those are knights, which makes a difference because we have Squire Recruitment, which says make a token creature for each friendly knight. We also has Renewed Life, fully heal a creature, make a token creature for each damaged healed this way. And then we have Membership Drive, make a token creature and gain 1 ember for each friendly token creature. So if we have the right hand, this could really go off. We could make a whole bunch of token creatures in 1 turn. We could use, say, Cassiel and Battle Evangelist is already out or something. We could use Grey Rider to fight with Colonel Mariana, get a 3 damage on it. We can use Battle Evangelist to fight, make a token creature. We can heal Mariana for 3, make 3 more token creatures. We can use Squire Recruitment and make 2 or 3 more token creatures depending on how many knights we have out. So that's 1, 2, 3, so maybe up to 7. And then we play Membership Drive, make a token creature, that's 8, gain 8 Ember. So obviously we're probably not going to have all those cards in our hand at once, but there's potential. There's potential. And this house has another 5 pips, 3 on the upgrades. Oh, 6 pips actually. 3 on the upgrades, 2 on the action, and 1 for Celestial Gorm. The big ones. All right. And then on to Saurian. Yeah, this normally is like big creatures. Our biggest is, we do have 1 7-power creature in Brobnar, Jarl Svend. And then we have Colonel Mariana. Everybody else is pretty small. We do have a Bumpsy and a Fire Spitter, but not a ton of big creatures. Are we going to get a bunch of big Saurian? We'll see. We're going to start with Hedonistic Intent with 2 damage pips, or 2 Ember pips. That's nice. So probably our other one from Kessiel, and play Exalt each flank creature. My friends, eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we shall eat, drink, and be merry again. I heard that house combo won Sealed Alliance at Keyforge Celebration. I would have to check. I actually do not know. I know Dave won it. I heard that he had an Equidon deck. We can check it out though. We will check it out. Let me get that spreadsheet ready. There is a spreadsheet out there that somebody made that has all the winners. I'll get that ready for later. Or we can just look it up right now. Oh no, that does not have the sealed stuff. Of course it doesn't. Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Okay, so after Hedonistic Intent for Saurian, we have another Hedonistic Intent. All right. We have a Tribune Pompatus. Each friendly creature gets +2 power for each ember on it. Before fight, you may exalt Tribune Pompatus. All right, so that actually, with our 2 Hedonistic Intent, we might be able to make some big creatures. Next up, we have Crushing Charge, so that's going to be good against token creatures. Play, destroy each creature with power 4 or lower. Gain 1 chain. We have an Epic Poem. Play, exalt a friendly creature, gain 1 ember for each, or gain 1 ember for each ember on that creature. The crowd began to thin out around the 3-day mark. So this could go really good with both of the Hedonistic Intents. Yo, what's up, Ember Meaties? Yes, this is our first time opening this deck. It's sealed. We also have a sealed Unchained. We're going to be open after this. We have another epic poem. That could get pretty crazy if we have a couple of these. And we have a third epic poem. Whoa! So those 3 by itself. The first one gains 1 ember. The second one gains 2 ember. The third one gains 3 ember. That's 6 ember with just those 3 cards if you have them all at the one time. That plus the Hedonistic Intents could get pretty crazy. Let's see if we have any other creatures that can exalt themselves. Tribune Pompatus can if it fights, but we have 5 more creatures. I'm kind of hoping for some exalt. Or sorry, we have 5 more cards. All right, and next up is Grammaticus Thrax. That's right, we already have 2 capture pips. And it looks like we have 2 more coming, so we might be able to get some more embers on our creatures. Of course, Grammaticus Thrax has enhanced 2 capture pips and 1 damage pip. And he has the damage pip enhancements, or it has the damage pip enhancement itself. I love Thrax. He leaves me the most glowing feedback. Aloysius the Naive. Epic Poem is bonkers. That's what I lost to in Alliance Sealed at Keyforge Celebration. Whoa. Now what I lost to is a prospector. We're going to talk all about my journey later, but I want to open a prospector because they get pretty blockered. Okay, this is pretty sweet. We have Legionary Trainer. Play, make a token creature. Each friendly token creature enters play ready. Why would we trust you with a Plasmadori before you've proven you can handle a bronze sword? Okay, so what's cool about this is we have a lot of ways to make token creatures in Sanctum and our token creatures from Sanctum. Our trouble would be trying to make this survive. Now we have 2 ostentatious mounts, so we could put Taunt somewhere getting ready for this creature. And then after that, we can play the upgrade on it, which says that its neighbors take its damage instead. If we can get this to survive with as much tokens as we can make in Sanctum, that could be huge. Sweet. Thanks, Donabot. It generates its own taunt. Yeah. Ostentatious mount. Yep. Yeah, my point is we could have a creature with taunt that we have on the side waiting for legionary trainer to play. Oh yeah, our token creature makes its own taunt. You're right. So we can have a taunt ready for it. Awesome. All right, next up we have Praetor Marius. After Reap, for each exhausted creature to Praetor Marius's left, capture 1 Ember. Okay. The more his colleagues to the left criticize his policies, the stronger Marius's rhetoric becomes. All right, so this could go very well with our epic poems. If we can get a Reap off and have a bunch of exhausted stuff to his left, it could capture a whole bunch, and then epic poem time. Yeah, that is a menacing dino. All right, so we definitely have some potential for burst, both with the epic poems and with membership drive. Next up, we have a double capture pip symposium. Play, exalt, ready, and use a friendly creature. If it is a token creature, you may exalt, ready, and use another friendly creature. Anyone who thinks the real decisions are made in the Senate have never been to a symposium. So this is going to be awesome with my epic poem because this card alone can put 3 Ember on 1 creature. Then the epic poem puts a 4th. Boom, that's 4 Ember right there. If I have 2 epic poems, this is going to get nuts really quick. And what's cool in this is, yeah, I have both cards from the wrong art thing. We have Hedonistic Intent, and we have Symposium that's got the wrong art. There we go. Pretty cool that these both have the enhancements too. All right. Collector's item right here. Very cool. Very cool. This actually looks like a pretty cool deck. And finally, wait, lol is battle line order representing political affiliation now. Totally. Yeah, it's an evil twin, totally. And then finally, we have another symposium. That is even more hilarious considering I have 2 symposiums and 2 hedonistic intents. Oh my goodness. Can I hold these all at the same time? All right, we'll do 2 hands. We really like that art. That is nuts. That is hilarious. All right. Quad arts. What a unique deck, as always with Keyforge. Okay. So let's see. We have 2, 3. Only 3 Ember Pips in Saurian. And we had 6 in Sanctum and 5 in Brobnar. So that is 14. And which isn't bad. With all the other rush, this is actually a rush deck. You would never think that Brobnar, Saurian, Sanctum would be a rush deck, but this is totally a rush deck. This is trying to get those epic poems off. This is trying to get membership drive off. And it'll try and slow you down with the Marius for capture, with my capture pips, with the unguarded camp, berserker slams. Oh yeah, fresh marks also for burst. So this actually looks like a fun deck. I'm excited to try it out. So that is Appleflea Brondvostok Scout. Very exciting. Very exciting. Alrighty. Now, it's on to let's get Unchained. And I just love reading this description because it's funny. This Keyforge deck is Unchained. Unchained decks are generated from a massive card pool with almost no restrictions and extremely high chance for Mavericks. No promises of balance, no semblance of order, only over the top Unchained Unchained Keyforge fun. Untamed decks are not legal in sanctioned Keyforge tournaments. Alrighty, let's check it out. Let's just cut through the tape. All right. Let me open this up. All right. We have Boyko the Romantic. Saurian Sanctum Unfathomable. And I don't even know what that token is. Let's see, is it the Scholar? What is that called? It is. Yes, it is the Scholar. After Reap, draw one Ember. Okay. So, let's take a quick look at that. And we also need to take a quick look at our Archon. So this is the Scholar. Very colorful art. I like it. It does only have one damage though, or one power. So against the last deck, if you got Pingle out, Fire Spitter, this thing just dies. But after Reap, drawing one card is not bad. If you can get a whole bunch of them and it can survive, you could potentially draw a whole bunch. Okay, and here is... Come on. Okay, here is our nice Archon. Okay, so this is an interesting looking creature. It's got like tentacles on each side. I'm gonna have to say those tentacles come from Unfathomable. The top is almost like a giant kind of one of those knight helmets. So I think that helmet comes from Sanctum here. And then the body and the triple legs, they must be some weird dinosaur we haven't seen before. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's romantic, nice. Yeah, fun to be romantic. Like a weird alien tank thing. Yeah, I can see that. I kind of like it, actually. Kind of like it. Okay, let's see what we got here. We're going to start off with Sanctum. And we have a General Salvador with 2 enhanced capture pips. Next up, another General Salvador. Interesting. Then we have a Mad Prophet Grizzleheart with a draw pip. While Mad Prophet Grizzleheart is in the center of your battle line, it gains action. Fully heal each non-mutant creature. Gain 1 ember for each creature healed this way. Maybe those tentacles were actually Grizzleheart snakes. Yep, we got the captures all right. We got the captures. Caps, caps, caps. Next up, we have Aha, the Inconspicuous. or Aja, or Aja. While Aja, the inconspicuous, is not on a flank, it cannot be dealt damage. We can start as soon as Aja gets here. I've been here this whole time. I really like the Mad Prophet. Yeah, I've not got it off a lot. I think maybe once or twice. Ooh, that's a nice card. Proclamation 346E. While your opponent does not control creatures from 3 different houses, their keys cost +2 Ember. I'm particularly fond of paragraph 2, subsection C. Jehu the Bureaucrat. That's some nice Ember control. Next up, we have Grand Melee. Destroy each creature that does not share a house with at least one of its neighbors. Alright, creature control is always good, especially with Proclamation. Next up, we have Cassiel the Benevolent. There's some of our enhancements. Alright, Faith is the best shield, but just in case. So we already have at least 6 Capture Pip enhancements and an Ember enhancement. That's nice. And somewhere we're getting draw enhancements too, so. We have an Inspiration with a Capture enhancement pip. Play, ready and user-friendly creature. The Sanctum gives meaning to my life. Duma the Martyr. Awesome. Yeah. We're going to have lots of fun capturing. Alright, we have a Lord Golgotha. Before fight, deal 3 damage to each neighbor of the creature Lord Golgotha fights. Enlightened does not mean peaceful. This deck so far wants to go big board with Golgotha, the two Salvadors, Mad Prophet, Cassiel, Aja. Yeah. And now we have Opal Knight. Play, destroy each creature with even power. I will not yield. Lots of creatures. Wow, we have a Vault Keeper with 2 Capture Pips. Your Ember cannot be stolen. Few but the Archons possess the ability to detect the vaults. Few but the Sanctum would presume to dictate which Archons are worthy. Very cool. Steel Hate can always be useful. Next up, we have Protect the Weak. This creature gains +1 armor and gains taunt. This is actually really good with all the other creatures we have to protect the Vault Keeper, to protect Mad Prophet Gizelheart potentially. Big board. How rude to capture but to not allow stealing. Yep, that's pretty much Sanctum. They can be pretty rude. So that is our Sanctum. I mean, we're going to need to be protecting all those scholars, but so we have Protect the Weak, we have Inspiration, we have Grand Melee and Proclamation, and the rest are creatures. So we have a nice 8 creature Sanctum house. Yeah, that's not a good way to display it, but you get the gist. Alright, let me take a drink, and then we'll be on to Saurian. And we didn't have any Mavericks. Any Mavericks in our Sanctum. On to Saurian. And we're going to start out with the first scroll. After a player forges a key, each creature they control captures 1 ember from its own side. Alright. Forge at 6. I don't think I've ever been in a match or an important match with the first scroll. So that'd be interesting. Next up, we have Axiom of Grisk. Okay, that's really good with all our capture pips. Play, ward a creature. Destroy each creature with no ember on it. Gain 2 chains. Very nice. Then we have a Curse of Vanity. Play, exalt a friendly creature and an enemy creature. He died the way he lived, gazing adoringly at himself in the mirror. Next up, we have another Curse of Vanity. What's nice about that is we can exalt different creatures, save them with Axiom. We can exalt only one enemy creature and then hopefully fight into it. Next up, we have Galliatops. Galliatops only deals 4 damage when fighting. More big bodies. Next up, we have an Auto Legionary with a draw pip. Action. Put Auto Legionary on a flank of your battle line. While in the battle line, it is considered a creature with 5 power and may be used as if it belonged to the active house. Where are these draw pips coming from? That's what I want to know. Maybe a Maverick Cronus? Maybe a Amphora Captura? I guess we'll see. Next up, we have Crassosaurus. Elusive play. Capture 10 Ember from any combination of players. Then, if Crassosaurus has fewer than 10 Ember on it, purge Crassosaurus. Ooh, do we have an Exile? Yeah, we might have a Kelpminder too. Good call. Next up, we have a Compsos Haruspex, one of my favorite, and it's enhanced with an Ember and a Capture Pip. Each friendly creature's play effect is a play after reap effect. They've been predicting doom for the last 65 million years. Okay. uh, so I guess with Crassosaurus, if you actually get it out, yeah, you don't want to reap with this because if you can't capture. Oh, actually, no, it always have 10 Ember on it, so it's okay. But then you can capture 10 more Ember. Well, I guess the then effect only happens if you capture 10 Ember. So I guess with this, with Crassosaurus out, you can just keep capturing all their Ember. Right? That's pretty wacky. I've never actually seen that Crassosaurus and Compsys together. But now, what all fun are we going to be able to have with Compsys? Let's see. I guess we have a play effect of Opal Knight. Destroy each creature with even power, which is not good with Compsys or with Crassosaurus. I guess that's our only play effect. So hopefully we have some other good play effects. All right, next up we have Kerwallop, a Maverick Kerwallop. That looks pretty cool. Play. Deal 1 damage to each creature. Gain 1 Ember for each creature destroyed this way. All right, well, we have a Scholar. So in theory, we can gain Ember for killing our tokens. That art looks really sweet in the Saurian frame. Yeah, there's a dino in there, for sure. Very nice. Very beautiful. A great combination of colors, actually. Very cool. We don't have a lot of token makers, though, so maybe they're coming. Maybe they're coming. Next up, we have Phalanx Leader. Oh, what? A Phalanx Leader. I just had to say something. Play. Make a token creature immediately to Phalanx Leader's left. After fight, after reap, each creature that Phalanx Leader's left gets +2 power for the remainder of the turn. Okay, and so this is nice as well, that Compsys, we could potentially be making more token creatures after Phalanx Leader's out. So that's pretty nice. Next up, we have Chancellor Dexterous. After reap, you may exalt Chancellor Dexterous's right neighbor. If you do, that creature belongs to House Saurian for the remainder of the turn, instead of its other houses. Alright. Dexterous. Better than Dexter. Next up is Recruit. Make with a capture pip. Focus. Alright. Make a token creature. If you exalted a friendly creature this turn, archive Recruit. Alright. So we're getting some token creatures out there and potentially killing them with Kerwallop, but you know, at least we get some Ember from it. And that's our Saurian. We did get the one nice Maverick. The Crassosaurus is interesting. The Axiom will be really nice with all the capture that we have. Compsos is always fun. I love Compsos, although we don't have a lot of crazy play effects. I was hoping we would have Legionary Trainer to get token creatures to come out ready, but always cool to see those archivable token makers enhanced with something. Yeah, totally. So let's see. And we can exalt. We have the 2 Curse of Vanities, so we can exalt with those. We have Chancellor Dexterous. So I guess we have 3 different ways to exalt. So not a lot of ways to potentially archive recruit, but we have a few. We have a few. All right, next up, we're going unfathomable into the deeps with a soft landing. A nice Mars Maverick. In unfathomable play, the next creature or artifact you play this turn enters play ready. Any landing you walk away from. Let's see what this can combo with. That's always a fun card. Next up we have a nice Maverick treasure map, and ooh, that looks cool. Play. If you have not played any other cards this turn, gain 3 Ember. For the remainder of the turn, you cannot play cards. Ooh, that purple and that yellow together, or gold, that looks amazing. Mavericks, Mavericks. Yeah, actually, I do like the purple and green too, although the green on soft landing is not that pronounced. But all Mavericks are awesome. All Mavericks are cool. Very nice. Very nice. All right. Next up, the treasure is the fish we made along the way down. Next up, another Maverick. We have old Bruno. Elusive play, capture 3. More capture! I raise. This deck needed some epic poems because we're going to have so much Ember on our creatures. And old Bruno looks like he fits in Unfathomable. All the purples and magentas. Very cool. Very cool. I guess there's still a chance. That's right. We might have an epic poem in Unfathomable. Oh, if this was a house of only Mavericks, I would go nuts. I would go nuts. Can we keep it going? No. Ah, we have Brackish Shoreline. After a creature fights, it does not ready during the ready card step this turn. The Eternal Battle of Surf and Turf. I'll take 11 Mavericks. Next, we have Call of the Void. Play, exhaust a creature. If it was already exhausted, destroy it instead, and its controller loses 1 Ember. This actually combos nicely with Brackish Shoreline. If they have to fight into me, then they don't ready. Boom, it's already exhausted. Down to the deep where Killigog sleeps. Unfathomable chance. I love the art on this. So cool. Next up, we have Whirlpool. Oh my god, with all of our capture, this is going to be nuts! Whirlpool. At the end of each player's turn, that player gives control of the creature on their right flank to their opponent and moves it to that player's left flank. Whoa. Oh my goodness. We can just load up creatures with all the capture and send them on over to the other side. Who needs Exile? We got Whirlpool. We're going to have to count up all the capture that we can do. All right. We have another new one to me. Kelping Hands. Omni, destroy Kelping Hands for the remainder of the turn. Each friendly creature gains poison. Good kelp is hard to find. I remember seeing this. Is it new to me? I don't know. I definitely haven't played it yet, though. So this might potentially be good with Whirlpool if I can send them a creature with a whole bunch of Ember, and then I have a way to kill it with poison right away. Now, so far, my soft landing is only worthwhile with Kelping Hands and Old Bruno because my other two artifacts don't, they're just static effects, constant effects. One of the Winds of Exchange decks I opened had double Whirlpool. Oh my goodness, that is nuts. 2 creatures every turn? Oh, that would make your head spin. Wow. All right, next up, we have the Token Killer. Play, put each creature with power 3 or lower on top of its owner's deck in a random order. All right, well, my token is also 1 power, so although so far I'm not making a lot of tokens, so probably not going to hurt me that bad. Next up, we have Crushing Deep. I mean, that's also a good way if I send them a low power creature to get the Ember off of it. Crushing Deep, play during your opponent's next turn. Keys cost +3 Ember for each forged key they have. I don't understand. This worked perfectly in a vacuum. We have a lot of Ember in this Unfathomable. Next up, we have Kelp Minder. Yep. Amber Meaties called it. Enhance Capture Pip and 2 Enhancement Pips. Grant Coral's famous painting of a farming couple put a friendly face on the mysterious Aquans. Very cool. Very cool take on American Gothic. Hey, focus! There we go. All right. I guess we have something else that old soft landing can ready. We have a Maelstrom with a capture pip. That's not good. I don't know what to call it, Dodger. Play. Put each creature on top of its owner's deck in a random order. Gain 2 chains. So that capture pip's not good. That's alright. And finally, we have Toxicuta Venom. This creature gains poison with an Ember and an enhanced capture pip. The art on this is pretty cool too. All right. So let's see how many capture pips we have. The one on Maelstrom doesn't count. Toxicuta has 1. Old Bruno can capture 3. We don't have anything cool that we can do with our soft landing, unfortunately. I mean, we can kill people that may have a lot of Ember because of Whirlpool. So we have 1. Recruit has 1, 2. Compsos has 1, that's 3. Crassosaurus can capture 10. So so that'd be like, yeah, we can send Crassosaurus over to the other side. What's up, Jungbong? Thanks for watching. Is this game worth the play in 2022? Yes, it is, and actually now is a perfect time to get into it, and here's why. The game was actually just bought in June by a new company called Ghost Galaxy, and so far they've been amazing. In that time, they've already produced a set which has just launched on GameFound, which is a kind of like a Kickstarter. It's an indie funding site. The pledge manager just opened. There's late pledges that you can do to order the latest set, Winds of Exchange. And so far, Ghost Galaxy has been amazing in terms of transparency and in terms of listening to fans, listening to the players of this game and improving as they go along. So the future of Keyforge is super bright. It's actually a very exciting time right now to be a Keyforge fan. It's going to explode in 2023. They have huge plans for organized play that they revealed at the Keyforge Celebration, which was the last weekend, including prize money of $50,000 at the World Championships and prize money of $10,000, I believe, at Vault Tours. And there's going to be at least 10 Vault Tours all around the world. Um, so yeah, it's actually a very exciting time to be a Keyforge fan right now. There's a lot of sets that are out there that are evergreen, so they're still valid in upcoming tournaments. And some of those sets you can get for very cheap right now. So it's also kind of cheap to get in the game with some of the older sets and get a good feel for it. See if you like the gameplay. It's got a really great community. The community is very welcoming, very open, and very positive for the most part. Um, so yeah, it is perfect time to get into this game, and it's going to explode even more next year. Under the new stewardship of Ghost Galaxy, for sure. Maelstrom is very interesting with Whirlpool. Let's see. You could soft landing the Kelping Hands to give every friendly creature poison that same turn, perhaps? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely could do that. Now, I only have two creatures in Unvaluable. We have Old Bruno, which we probably don't want to be fighting with, and we have the Kelp Minder. So this Unfathomable house is kind of odd, but let's see. We have how many Ember Pips does this house have? It's got a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Ember Pips. 8 out of the 12 cards have an Ember Pip. That's awesome. Let's count the rest of our Ember Pips because now I'm interested. 8, 9, 10, 11, and Unfathomable didn't have that many, and Sanctum didn't have that many either because of all the creatures. Yeah, Sanctum only had 1. So we only have 12 Ember Pips overall. But we can capture so much, then we can send that over to the opponent with our Whirlpool, and we have tons of Sanctum creatures. So here's what's tricky. We have to kind of wait to see, we have to let our opponent put out a bunch of creatures, because if they don't have a lot of creatures, they're going to just send the creature that's got all the captured pips on it right back to us. So that's always the balance with Whirlpool. So it'll be fun to try this out. Soft landing Old Bruno with Compsys and Whirlpool out to capture an XL6. Ooh, that is abusing. Or I'm not even sure what I said. That's amazing and beautiful. That's what I was trying to say. Abuse. That doesn't work. Amazing and beautiful. uh, all right, but that is our Unchained deck, which is not. There we go. Boyko the Romantic. How romantic, you're giving me all your captured ember. All right, so a couple fun decks already. Should we? Should we open one more? Let me check the Keyforge meta report. Let's see, yeah. So Dave Cordero's winning Keyforge or sealed alliance deck had Equidon, Sanctum, and Unfathomable. So it was close to that other one. It just had Equidon instead of Brobnar, and it had the Diplomat token. Interesting. For every deck you don't open, I'll open a display of AOA. Well, you should do that too. Well, I didn't hear anybody wanting to see another deck though, so maybe we should get into my recap. All right. Recap it is. Let us get over to that page. All right, here we go. So, as you all know, this last weekend I was at the Keyforge Celebration. And so I wanted to talk about a few things. We already, of course, had our deck openings, but I wanted to talk about the Keyforge Celebration and my thoughts on it, my thoughts on kind of Ghost Galaxy and the future of Keyforge, and then I wanted to kind of run through my tournament experience. I played Seal Alliance on Friday, and I played Standard Archon on Saturday. Alrighty, so let's get right into it. We already did a deck opening. So, the Keyforge Celebration. Like, number one, it was really awesome. I've never been at a big event. My biggest event that I've been to is a store championship with I think 24 players. And I've only been to one of those. So to me, this was like unprecedented. There was just like roughly 200 people there. Uh, and it was really awesome to meet a lot of faces that I've talked to and played Keyforge with all the time. Really cool to meet everybody. That was one of the coolest things. Um, and then just being able to see a new set for the first time. I had never had a chance to be part of any kind of um, release events for previous sets. And so that was just so exciting. And it was even more exciting to share it with you live on stream, opening my first Winds of Exchange deck, opening my first Unchained deck. And then, like I said before, meeting cool new people. Captain Crispy was like really awesome to share his decks open on stream as well. I had never met him before he decided to share his decks with us. So, and it turned out he was really awesome. I got to talk with him a whole bunch after that. So, uh, really great people, really great event. And one of the things that was really neat about the event was the way that they use the Unchained duels. Now, sure, Unchained decks are cool because they're crazy, right? You can get all sorts of weird, crazy cards in it. Um, but the way that they use the Unchained duels is you didn't get credit unless you were playing somebody new. So at the end of the weekend, if you were, I think, in the top three of people who had wins, then you got some prizes. But you also had the ability to buy a new deck if you lost twice in a row. So the fact that if you played the same player, it didn't count. It also meant that you were forced to go meet new people, which I thought was awesome. Um, the Keyforge community already is so cool, so it was really neat that they had a way to encourage meeting other people from the community. And I hope that they have an event like this. And there's ways that they can improve it and improve everything, but just the fact that they had it And just the fact that they've kind of put this whole thing together in less than a month was amazing. And I love the Unchained duels, and I love that um, they encouraged you to meet new people that you may have not met otherwise. Um, so some of the things that they could potentially improve for that itself is, some of the feedback I heard from other people. I didn't really have this issue, but kind of what they were saying is, hey, you lose 6 times, you get all your decks because they had a limit that after 6 losses you could get up to 3 new decks. So after 6 losses, you'd have all your decks. And then other people were saying, I have no kind of reason to play again, just because the leader's already way ahead. I can never catch up. I didn't really see it that way, although I understand it. I understand that feedback. And so one of the things that people have said is, why don't instead, for kind of the prizes at the end, is they have tickets that you get, 1 ticket for a loss, 2 tickets for a win, and at the end they have raffle for prizes. That's similar to what they did for the sealed, or for the second Ember things, although they only gave 1 ticket to a winner. So that can also be improved with having like 2 tickets for a winner and 1 ticket for a loser, so that you have a reason to keep playing in it. But so and that's one thing that Ghost Galaxy is doing. They're getting feedback on this event and they're learning. Um, that's one of the things that make me most excited for the future of Keyforge is they continue to listen, they continue to show transparency in what their plans are, and that they're open to changing what their plans are based off of feedback. Um, and they are, of course, they are a business, so they're trying to do what they think is best for the business, but they're also listening and giving feedback, and they're being transparent to what they're trying to do. So I think that's super exciting. Um, they they worked hard on this event. They have a very small staff. It's like 5 people, and out of those 5 people, 2 of them may be programmers. Maybe the 2 programmers are outside those people, but mainly it was like just a few people putting together this whole event and running it. Um, so it was amazing job from them with kind of so few time and so few people to put it on, and it nailed a lot of things. There's definitely room for improvement. Everything took longer than they expected, and I think that they had more people than they expected, especially on like this sealed alliance, and so that also made it go longer than they expected. Also, they used challenge for the brackets for all the tournaments, and I think the way that it um, did the double elimination was not exactly what they expected, and made things go longer than expected. But they're definitely listening to feedback. They plan to have their own tournament software in the future, so hopefully the Chalong issue doesn't happen again. Also, they had announced kind of the dates of everything before they even knew how many people were going to be there. Um, so that was also kind of an issue, just because they kind of were already um, limiting themselves to what they could get into the time frame. So I mean, I think they learned from a lot, and so I actually had a chance to talk briefly with Blinking Line. He was one of the uh, judges for the events, um, and he was actually paid by Ghost Galaxy to help with the rules, as they kind of relaunch Keyforge. Um, and because he was involved with running the event as a judge, um, you know, I talked to him a little bit at the airport, but then I think they even mentioned, they were going to have a kind of aftermath meeting where they were going to talk about lessons learned from the meeting after the event finished. And Blinking Line confirmed, yes, that did happen. They did talk, and they plan to do more kind of conversations in the future. So I think that's really good news. They take this very seriously. They're looking to improve. They're looking to learn, and um, it makes me super excited for the future Keyforge. We have really great stewards of the game in Ghost Galaxy, and yeah, I'm excited. Let's see. Did I cover everything there? Something else will probably come up to me later, but that's a good start. Everybody was also very personable um, from the staff and the other players. Um, yeah, a few shout outs. Some of the hardest working people that weren't part of the event. Holy cow, the Tabletop Royale guys, Nathan and Justin, and especially one star peeps, Andrew. Wow, they spent so much of their time making sure that you all had streams of the tournaments. Um, Andrew was an Iron Man because it was just him streaming everything. Um, at least Nathan and Justin, they were um, kind of doing a tag team for some of it because Justin played in the Alliance event and Nathan played in the Sealed Alliance event. So during those streams, they tag team, and the other person who wasn't part of the event was streaming, but Andrew was there the whole time. And let me tell you, it's exhausting to do that stuff. It is exhausting. That was one thing that I actually struggle with. This event was so cool, and I was meeting all these people. It was really exciting. Getting Winds of Exchange, super exciting. All of it was like amazing, but I was exhausted. And I think there's a couple reasons for that. So it's like lessons learned for me. Um, One is I probably didn't eat enough. The timing was a little bit wacky. Um, Kind of on that Friday where it all kicked off, I had just like ordered food, and right then they announced, okay, you can now get your goodie bags, which of course has your first two Winds of Exchange deck and your first Unchained deck. And I was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting this early. I don't have anything set up, so I needed to go set up my laptop and my whole setup, uh, tripod and everything for streaming the deck opening. And from that time for me, it was like nonstop. Did the deck opening stream. Right after that ended, there was a keynote. Right after that was the Sealed Alliance tournament. And and when you're in the tournament, there's almost no time to get food. Um, and so I probably didn't eat until 8:30 or 9 p.m. that night again after lunch. So that was bad on me for not being prepared for that, not having extra snacks. Also, I was carrying around a backpack with a lot of gear for my streaming, and I did that pretty much all day Friday and pretty much all day Saturday because I wanted to stream my ABR match versus Zodid. Um, so that also probably helped in tiring me out. And another factor was probably, my personality. I'm an introvert. And so even though I love meeting new people, it's very exhausting for me too, being around that many people and meeting so many new people. I do enjoy it and I do like it. and I do really like meeting new people and talking to them, and I really am interested in what makes people tick, and I love that everybody, is interested in different things, and um, but it's very tiring for me, and so I think that also contributed to me just being exhausted, kind of from Friday afternoon on. I was just exhausted the rest of the event. um, so it's a lesson learned. Yeah, I think I definitely could eat a lot more. That would probably help a whole bunch. And take some breaks and so yeah, you know, give some make sure I'm taking care of my own health as well. But the event was awesome. So let's get on to the tournaments. If I remember anything else I wanted to mention, other shout outs. I mean, everybody was awesome there. Everybody was awesome. Eating regularly is very important. It was so cool to meet Ambermedes. Mordovas was really cool. Everybody was cool. Everybody's cool. Yeah. I got to meet the Prime Cut Games guys who they haven't streamed for a while because they moved away from each other, but Claymore and Tom, they also are regulars on the TTR streams. They were really nice. They were fun to hang out with. I got to play Dev a few times. He's a great guy. Um, got to play against Lord of Winter. We'll get into because some of those I played in the tournament. So let's go to the tournament. There's a lot of more people I met that are really cool, and I'm not gonna remember them all. So I'm sorry. But let's get into it. So first, Seal Alliance. I had two decks, and I had a decision, and I don't think I made the decision. I should have this. Yeah, I should have reassessed. mm, Sorry, I should have thought more critically about it after a few games playing, but I didn't. And part of that was probably because of the exhaustion and everything. Um, but part of it is I actually have three pretty good houses. So, my starting deck number one was the Equitable Titan Denizen of Grinheim. Equidon, Mars, Unfathomable. And it had the fish token. And we'll take a look at some of the cards, but let's take a quick look-see here. Here's my fish, my nice fish token. It, of course, is destroyed. 2 Ember to the most powerful enemy creature. The beautiful fish. Fish! Fish! And let's see. Yeah, here is my Archon. The Equitable Titan Denizen of Grinheim. All right. So, um, so in this, going back, it had all three houses actually were really good. How's that destroyed effect? Now, I actually couldn't make a lot of tokens, and so for me, the fish token did almost nothing. However, I heard from other people that it was actually pretty good because they could make more tokens, and it's one of those things where no matter what happens to it, it's doing something. Even if it dies, it's damaging the enemy, so it's doing something. Um, and so I think it depends on the number of tokens that you can create. I couldn't create a whole bunch, so it didn't do much for me. So my houses, as you can see, Equidon had 2 closed door negotiations, which is more or less the new bait and switch. Had corner the market, which was great. That's they cannot play actions or they cannot play cards, but for every card you discard, you can archive it. So that was great to make sure that I forged. And then I had a mass buyout for a board wipe. My Mars was pretty awesome. It had two Iron X Ribbles, which on play readies each of its neighbors. It had a Mixitol Minded for some good amber control. It had a Felix the Disintegrator for some good amber control. It had a Psychic Network for good amber control. And a Kaboom. And it had several other creatures as well, so the Rebels really got kind of a lot of work in. And then Unfathomable, it had going kind of back to start. It had a Maelstrom, a Befuddle, an Adult Swim, an Illusions of Grandeur, and a Sybil Waymare. And the Sybil Waymare, it's actually pretty interesting. Take a look at it here. At the start of your opponent's turn, that player discards a top card of their deck and exhausts each creature of that card's house. I thought it was an Ice Gesture. So this could be pretty good. It's kind of very interesting. Um, However, if it is two-sided as well. If you share houses and they flip over a house that you have, it exhausts your creatures too. So that's also a feel bad. So that was the first deck. The second deck was Wordless Zweinunger of the Cathedral, Brobnar Mars Saurian, with a token, Bellatoran Warrior. So here's some of the highlights. And I actually didn't realize some of these were highlights at the time. But in Brobnar, we had Autocannon, Chew Bumpsy, Berserker Slam, Ragnarok Prep, which says it's a conditional lose 2 Ember, which is nice. Or, sorry, making your opponent lose 2 Ember. Make a token creature. If you control more creatures than your opponent loses 2 Ember. And I had a ton of kind of creature control in Brobnar, like with the 3 Stratosmack and the Berserker Slam. So in theory, you could get that off. It also, I didn't have it listed here, but it also had an overrun, which is also possible. If 3 or more enemy creatures have been destroyed this turn, your opponent loses 2 Ember. In Mars, I had an airlock, which lets you discard a card and then draw a card. 2 Brain Dart, which I didn't think seemed that good, but after playing against it, Brain Dart's actually pretty good. It's kind of like Mind Warper on a card. It has an Ember Pip. You choose a card. It captures 1 Ember from its own side, plus it enrages that creature. It also had a Kaboom. It had a Mars Needs Ember and a Scoop Up. So it didn't have as much burst as the other one, but it still had some nice tools. And in the Saurian, it had 2 Aquilia Lone Heroes, which can capture with an Omni if you have less creatures. It had an Epic Poem, it had 2 Legionary Trainers, and it had a Pale into Significance and a Phalanx Strike. So I actually had 6 decent houses. Like every house that I went through, I was like, there's good stuff here. And it was actually really hard to decide between them. Kind of going back to the starting deck, I really liked the Ember control of the closed door negotiation and the closeout factor of the Cornet of the Market. It also had some other kind of role playing unfathomable cards. I think it had 2 Belligerent Giants, which comes out ready, 8 power, but they draw a card. I thought the Mars was amazing. However, even though I had kind of very little token generation, there was at least more than once where I created a psychic network with a token. That was a real feel bad. I didn't have a lot of ways to bring tokens back into my hand. I guess Adult Swim could do it. And then the Unfathomable, I really liked a lot of the disruption and board control that it brought. Kind of from the other deck, I didn't realize how powerful autocannon could be. So I minimized kind of what it could do. And I think also the 3 Stratosmack would have been a lot more effective than I was first thinking of. And so just to show you all again what it is. Stratosmack is play, deal 3 damage to a creature. If this damage destroys that creature, make a token creature. Give me a high five. The Mars in this deck also had a clone home. But kind of one of the key things here is that Saurian, the 2 legionary trainers. I also didn't realize, I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but more or less, I was an idiot for not going with Saurian. And I really was thinking at the start of going with this Saurian and also taking the Bellaton Warrior, but I didn't. I just went straight with this deck. I went straight with the Equitable Titan Denizen of Grinheim. I didn't swap out any houses. I definitely should have swapped out at least one house. I should have gone with a Saurian, probably instead of the Equidon, actually, even though you lose those 2 closed door negotiations, which helped me win games, and the corner of the market, which definitely helped me win a game. I think, especially in sealed, I could have done a lot more with the Bellaton Warriors and the Legionary trainers. They would have been so powerful. And you know, it's one of those things where I should have reassessed my choice pretty much after every game and said, like, how'd this game go? What went good? What went bad? But one, I didn't have enough time. Two, I was exhausted. So I really didn't have kind of all the analysis that I would have liked to do to make sure that I was doing the right thing. So I think I could have done a lot better than I did. I still didn't do bad. So let's get into it. In my first match, I played Mason Lato. And he was actually a playtester. He's also famously the creator of the adventure, the adventure with a pirate ship. Oh man, I always forget the name of it. So he's done a lot for the community. He's a really cool guy. And being a playtester, I was like a little bit scared. But my Mars went off. The Iron X Ribbles kept readying their neighbors. They're doing a lot of work. Psychic Network was getting me some steel. The closed door negotiation was getting me some steel. So I was able to take that one. And he actually went 3-2, or at least. So even though he lost that first one, I think he won the next 3 at least in a row. The second game was also a learning experience. And this is something where, with a new set, you don't necessarily know kind of everything that you're playing against, and it's important to read the cards. And I didn't read this card good enough. They had played Taya Arhi Esquire, which reads, each friendly non-token creature gains destroyed, make a token creature. And I didn't read this close enough. They had a fairly big board, and they had a Mars token creature, and they had Crystal Hive. I played Kaboom. They created like 6 or 7 token creatures, Mars token creatures. They already had a couple Mars token creatures out there. So with Crystal Hive, they were able to make like, at least 12 Ember a turn just by reaping plus some other stuff. So I pretty much killed myself in that game. I think I could have been all right if I did it differently. Because I was up when that happened. So that one I pretty much just punted that game. So then I was in the losers bracket. I played Pepper Clark third, and honestly, I don't remember anything about that match at all. But I won. I think it was fairly quick. Fourth, I played against Molly, and Molly, it's funny because I played against Molly in Sealed Alliance, and then every game in my standard Archon, Molly was my neighbor, and we had the same record. When she won, I won. When she lost, I lost. So it was pretty crazy. It was kind of funny. Every game, I would say, "Hello, neighbor." But first or second turn, Molly plays out a Quickstone, and so this was actually an interesting matchup. But I was able to pull it out. Wasn't able to do a lot of my shenanigans, but I think I just had enough good cards to kind of get through it. And then finally, I played Lord of Winter, which was my last loss. Um, and Lord of Winter had a wild deck with Prospector, where he could play out a ton of Prospectors, and then he'd play Mass Buyout, destroy them all, he'd gain a bunch of Ember, draw a bunch of cards, and then make a whole bunch more. So I just couldn't handle it. Um, I didn't have a good start, and then it gave him time to kind of get going, and by then it was kind of over. Um, and this is something where if I had picked kind of the Saurian, uh, it could have been different. So I went 3-2 in Sealed Alliance. It's a lot of fun. It was really good. I think Sealed Alliance is actually pretty great way to play Sealed. I also love just regular Sealed, both one deck or for tournaments like this. I think it should be kind of like open three decks, pick one. Um, but Sealed Alliance is great too, and it's something that I definitely didn't do well, but I think gives a lot of interesting choices and decisions to make. All right, moving on to Standard Archon. First, we'll take a look at my deck. My deck is Miss Swordcook, the Overworked Trader. It's a Worlds Collide Dis Logo Star Alliance. The highlights in Dis: 2 Exhume, Infernus, Evil Eye, Library of the Damned, or Tanu the Chained. In Logos, we have 3 Igor, 3 Twin Bolt Emissions, Interdimensional Graft, Eddie, and a Tau Tau. And in Star Alliance, we have 3 Come Officer Kirby's, 2 Stealth Modes, Lieutenant Kirkar, and Medic Ingram. Let's just go over to the Decks of Keyforge page. Now, I had actually brought 2 decks. I had brought Miss Swordcook, and I'd also brought Researcher Tower Child, which I actually think might be a better deck, but it's more of a grinder. And Miss Swordcook can kind of just go off and is a little bit faster to play. Got a ton of speed with the Kirby's. It can play a lot of stuff off house. It can play a lot of Ember Control also off house with the Interdimensional Graft or Evil Eyes. So, say you have a bunch of Star Alliance creatures out, but you also want to play Ember Control, you still can if you got a Kirby. So that's nice. It can play also the Exhumes to bring back a Eddie or bring back an Infernus. So it's really flexible. It also has a double stealth mode to shut down, and we'll get to it in one of my games. It was really critical. Um, yeah, so, and the Igors, just help you kind of filter and get to the good stuff quickly. The other option I had, I brought them both, and I didn't decide until I think it was like 1 a.m. the day of the event. I should have been in bed, but instead I was deciding what deck. Um, didn't help with the exhaustion, I'm sure, but I was kind of at the end of the day, I was both exhausted and kind of wired just from the excitement of the day. So, took me a while to calm down a bit so I could go to sleep. Okay. A second deck I brought was Researcher Tower Child. This Logosarian, Mass Mutation, Amphora Captura, Auto Encoder, Double Infernus, Stirring Grave, Double Spoils of Battle, Monument to Strix usually does a lot of work, Monument to Primus, Mind Over Matter can sometimes do some work, Fausta Great, Waking Nightmare, and this one is actually really flexible. It also has a ton of pips which go really good with the Amphora Captura. Just from the enhancements alone, it has 19 and then an extra 8 Ember pips beyond that. So it's really flexible and can handle a lot of different decks. It's probably better in general than Swordcook, but it's kind of a grinder. Some games can be really grindy. And I thought, I'm already a bit exhausted. I probably shouldn't bring a grinder, but I kind of am all second guessing it already that maybe I should have brought it because I could have potentially still gone further. But maybe I just make mistakes. And kind of every small decision really matters a lot in big tournaments like that. So I went with Swordcook. Um, and so here's how the day went. First, I played Pixie Dust, and Pixie Dust was running Gigaphage, and we'll go through all these decks. Then I played Mr. Thrifty. Oops, I misspelled that. It was running Blaze Lazy Bones Killifop. Then I played Nova, who finished runner up, although potentially could have won it if they didn't run out of time. Because Z had to run to catch his plane. But she was running Jacques Ombre Lord de la Station. And yeah, I have grindy decks. Dev was running Protruding Araven. And then Mortivus was running Wherever Seeker Village Lord. So let's check him out. So first round, I played against this pretty cool Coda deck. 87 Sass, Control the Weak, Double Gateway, Life Ward, and Arise with at least in Dis, a Dust Imp and 2 Succubus. In the Logos, which you could also potentially use the Arise in because of the phase shift, it had Library Access, Time Traveler, Phase Shift, Strange Gizmo, Triple Quixo, Lab Work, and then a very steely Shadows with, well, I guess not super steely, but it had 2 Nerve Blast, Too Much to Protect, Miasma, Seeker Needle, double Silvertooth with a Silent Dagger. Um, yeah, Pixie Dust was on Discord. I didn't actually know that before the match, and actually, what's funny is later I forget on what Discord, I think it was a Keyforge Lounge, at some time before the event, I'm not sure when, they had posted, hey, here's 2 decks I'm thinking of taking to the event. This deck, Gigaphage, and some other deck, and was asking for advice. Um, so yeah, it's got a really nice record in terms of OP, 11-1 with 8 chains, and obviously a really powerful deck. The things I remember about this match is it was very tight all the way throughout. they had a very good library access turn. I think like the second turn, they probably played 6 or 7 cards. With the library access, probably yeah, probably 6 or 7 cards. So it was a pretty dang good library access turn, especially since it was a second turn. Um, I was obviously very cautious about their too much to protect. However, I think they played it early the first time. Um, and I think they got their miasma late. I don't think I remember them playing their miasma. If they did, they played it early for Ember. Um, they were able to control my board very well with kind of. I like to get a big Star Alliance out and just do shenanigans with that most of the time. Now that doesn't always work, and there's other ways that I can. In Dis, I can also kind of use the board sometimes. But this one came down to the end, and in the end, I had 2 keys and 4 Ember, and they had 2 keys and somewhere between 2 to 4 Ember. And I had a choice. It was my turn. I could either gain 2 Ember, get to 6 Ember, and play a stealth mode, or I could um, delete a whole bunch of their Ember and maybe play 3 or 4 cards. So I could play Infernus, but I wouldn't get the check. So I had known that they had just redrawn. I assumed that they had a miasma, kind of either an archive or something, and I knew that their Ember control was mostly action based. Although, yeah, I didn't remember kind of all the cards they had. Um, so it is all action based except for the Umbra. I thought they had more than that. It was hard to remember. So I did go for the win and just went for the 2 Ember for plus the stealth mode, and that was enough to close it out. So won the first one versus Gigaphage. Always good to get the first one in. So next I was up against Mr. Thrifty. And Mr. Thrifty is also on some of the Discords. And the funny thing about Mr. Thrifty's deck is he opened it that day. And you can see here, registered November 2022. He said he just came in, bought a CLDD deck, and played it in Standard Archon. What a legend. And actually, it had some pretty cool plays. And um, he had some cards in his hand when I'd won. This was, um, it wasn't that close, but he did actually burst pretty early. Had the strange ordination. Um, so he had some burst early, and then I forget exactly what he had in his hand, but he was planning some pretty good shenanigans by the time I had won. And he also said it had a couple other cool tricks in it. So it was actually pretty cool that he was just like, I'm just opening a DT deck and playing with it. So pretty crazy. But I was also able to take that one. But then next up, we faced Nova. And of course, Nova is one of the best players in Keyforge, 2-time Vault winner. And they were playing Jock, Hombre, Lord de la Station. Dis Logosarian, Double Exhume, Gleeful Mayhem, Hysteria, Evil Eye, Double Infernus, Greater Oxtet, Logos, Double Tau Tau, Double Twin Bolt, Triple Eddy, an Ensorian, Triple Odoac, a Ludo, Saurus Rex, Double Imperium, Axiom, Phalanx Strike. Yeah, Worlds Collide. So I think this deck was going to win it all if Z didn't go to have to go to the airport. But what is cool about this deck is it's very flexible. The way that they played it against me, because my deck doesn't really steal, is they more or less were able to purge their whole Saurian. And then they able to archive their whole dis, and by the end they could just cycle their logos, um, which was pretty nuts. And they kind of easily won the Infernus battle versus me. I only have one Infernus. I do have the two Exhumes, but I already had to kind of respond to them early on. So with the Hysteria, the double Exhumes, the double Infernus, they were easily able to kind of do that to me. But what's cool about this deck is they don't have to kind of purge their Saurian. They could also, if they need to, if you're up against a lot of steel, you can go big board Saurian. You can use the Odoax. So it's actually really versatile. It can do a lot. It was a really cool deck to see. And yeah, they played it expertly, as you would imagined. So I think I probably only got one key there. I did get him for a pretty good interdimensional graph. At one point, it looked kind of close, but then they just took over. They could just cycle their eddies and Infernus pretty much as they wanted, and it just got worse and worse as it went along. Yeah, it was cool to see in action. They did lose once to Flaming Hobo in the first day, but then went all the way to the final. All right. After that, I was down in the loser's bracket, and I got to play Dev Dev, and they actually had a really cool Dark's Tidings deck, and I definitely was lucky that I had the right cards at the right time for this. Yeah, Flaming Hobo is a beast, and they have some great decks. They, of course, got top 8 as well. So, let's take a look at this. This is, of course, a Dr. Varoctor Rooftop Laboratory set with double eddies, Mecha Buoy, Phase Shift, Bouncing Death Cork, a double Ransack, Kerwallop and Mug, double Bren the Fanatic, Trickle Down Theory, Master Mini, Gas Pipes Malone, One-Eyed Willa, and then in Unchained, we have a Ritual of Balance, a Primal Relic, Infighting, all tied up, Chelonia, with 5 other creatures, including a Witch of the Dawn. So lots of speed, 32 expected Ember, some creature control, I think probably enough, and a decent amount of Ember control too, and a decent amount of speed as well. Mobius scroll as well, and some recursion. So lots of neat tricks. And kind of the critical play that came out of this one, I did get out early, get up early, but then they played a Brand, and then they played another Brand, and they were at, I think, 5 Ember, and I was about to go to check. And I was like, okay. I felt like they had a lot of ways that they could potentially kill them. So I needed to think about how to handle that. And luckily, I had Interdimensional Graft in hand. And at the time, I think I had a pretty good Star Alliance board, which got me my first key. And so I was racing to my second. So what I did was actually kill both Brens. I fought into them. And then I played the Interdimensional Graft off house with my Kirby. So I stole a bunch of Ember with a Graft. And that was kind of the difference. And by then I was so far up that pretty soon after yeah, he conceded. So a little bit lucky I had a graph when I did, but kind of taking the opportunity to kill the Bren so that the steel didn't hurt me later, I think was the difference there. So after that, I played Mordovas, and Mordovas was playing Wherever Seeker, Village Lord. And this is a really cool Worlds Collide deck as well. Lots of creature control, some Ember control, a decent expected Ember, and tons of Ember control. And one of the issues my deck has is when most of the Ember control is creature based, and most of his was creature based. 2 Infernus, 3 Ronnies, Center Chief Garcia, including one exhume and two not finished with you. And the two inspectors hurt as well. So they also had a stealth mode for some additional disruption. Yeah. And so this one was pretty close. He wanted 3 keys to chew. I just couldn't handle all the Ronnies and Infernuses in the end. I did try and play somewhat smart to limit the impact of the Ronnies, but even though I had a stealth mode late, it didn't matter because he had Ronnies. And also one other key thing that I didn't realize was he had a hidden run. I missed that on the list when I was reading it. And so there was a time where he Ronnied, or he had a Ronnie on the board, and he hit and run me and pulled back the Ronnie and played it. And I had a chance in one of the previous turns to kill that Ronnie. And I killed something else instead. So that could have been a factor. It probably wasn't a factor. He did get a not finished with you late and just kind of stacked his draw pile at the end. So probably wouldn't have mattered. But yeah, well played to Mordovas. It was a very cool deck, and he played it well. So that was my experience. I went 3-2 in both Alliance Sealed and Archon Standard. It was really fun playing and meeting everyone. Can't wait to do it again. Alrighty. What is next on DataForge? Well, just recently, and honestly, just the last day, I just trained a new model for my Stable Diffusion AI art generator. And I trained it with Archon art. And so I've been using it to generate Archon art. And these are two examples. This one is, of course, based off our Darth Vader. This one is based off a Maori mask. But there's a lot of cool possibilities with it. And I think there's opportunity also for me to improve my model a little as well. So that's definitely coming in a future art project episode. I also want to train some models on the house art and see if I can make other art that looks very similar to the flavor of that house. I feel like that could be a lot of fun. Another idea I had was a probability of drawing combos, especially thinking about kind of dark tidings and the importance of multi-card combos. Thought it would be interesting to do a little bit of analysis on how easy is it to draw into your 3-card combo, and what is the average number of turns to draw into it, and just trying to think about if you have a deck that relies on one of these combos, what are some rules of thumb to think about? How long should it take to draw into it, or what, knowing how long it takes to draw into it, how could I then play it better? Sometimes you might just want to discard something early, and this might help kind of having analysis around on average how long it takes to draw into it might help with that decision. But I'm all about the fun of Keyforge. So if there's other fun things that you want to see, let me know. I'm on the Ancient Bear Republic Discord. Hashtag DataForge. Check it out. Here's a link to the Discord in the chat. I also wanted to, I had mentioned earlier that Captain Crispy really helped me in my streams at the Keyforge Celebration and was very generous in opening his decks on stream. So check out his content as well. There's a link to his YouTube, and here's the link to his Twitch. Check it out. Give him a follow. Give him a subscription. Yeah. Alrighty. Alright, that's it for my stream tonight. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Looking forward to playing some Keyforge and meeting some more of you. Alright. Take care, everyone. Have a good night.